What is up, YouTube? Megasonic here with another Walking Dead comic book issue review. Today we're reviewing issue 170, and it's the beginning of a new arc of exploration and meeting new characters, which I'm glad, because Walking Dead was getting kind of stale, people. I'm sorry for this review being up a little too late. Vacation and also getting ready for college. I gotta leave real soon, probably next week. So, sorry about the lateness on this video. But also, I have a really special video coming out very soon for Marvel. So, if you guys want to subscribe and like for that video, please do so. And you'll get a notification when you hit that bell. So the first issue page starts out with like Michonne's group, and they're heading on the trail to go meet with the Ohio group from the last issue, and they said they're 15 minutes out, like 15 like miles, not minutes, sorry, miles out, and they haven't seen any like large number of walkers in like a long time, and it's like so interesting because they also have some of the newer characters from the new group from the beginning of this, from like the last art, Magnus group, and the Asian one, I forgot her name. She brings up how she's never been this far up north, and that she's gonna be surprised or excited about anything. And Michonne kind of worries like, okay, now she don't know, because they weren't out there that long. They were probably out there like they probably joined the group like a good month ago or a good while ago, and they're probably the newest people they have, and they don't even know what's like gonna happen outside here. So it's like, I can tell Michonne's like very like iffy about everything. Uh, next page focuses on like Rick talking to Jesus about the whole situation with Dwight, and Dwight being trying to like punk Rick, and Rick obviously not bowing or even shaking at the thought of Dwight, and he's telling him like watch out for Dwight. Dwight's obviously acting crazy, and Jesus, he hears him out, and he actually understands, like, maybe this can be an issue, maybe this can be a problem. Rick also gets a call from a woman, I forgot her name, but she talks about a character, I forgot his name, but she, like, Rick can go, like, speak to that person. I think it's, like, a young kid. I think that's one of the kids Carl beat up. I don't know. It's really interesting. I gotta like reread some chapters to understand who this person is. So it then goes to like where Maggie's group. They're currently heading back to where Hilltop, or probably gonna build it somewhere new. But they're probably gonna like build on top of the old Hilltop with a new Hilltop, because the Whisperers like burned down the whole Hilltop, and everyone's kind of like homeless right now. And she's talking to this character. I forgot her name, but she's like sort of like a low key like life advisor or close friend of Maggie, and she was not introduced in the TV show. She was left out, and they replaced her role with Sasha. But now Sasha's dead. Would we see her during the war or after the war? I'm not sure. But she's a good friend to Maggie, and she's talking to Maggie about everything. Is like, oh, Dante. Dante is like one of her closest soldier who kind of has a crush on her too, and they're talking like, where is he? And pretty much Maggie knows where he's at, and he is following Negan. And we catch Negan. He's killing some walkers, and he's heading on a trail, while Dante follows him. And Maggie is she's looking to see what he's plotting, because Rick let him go, and Maggie obviously she understands why Rick let him go, but we all know how Maggie is towards Negan. She's like, fuck that. This bastard killed Glenn. I'm coming for him. There's nothing that can stop me. And like, I don't care what Rick says. And I don't blame her for being like that. Rick and Negan do have this weird frenemy, or weird like allies, and Negan looks like he's cooperating of being an ally, because he's seen that Rick's way of doing things is actually more beneficial than what he was doing when he was like extorting supplies and making everyone work together to like serve the saviors. But also it was like a negative way of doing it. Rick having everyone pitch in to survive actually keeps the communities together and happy, and he's seen that way was much more cooperative and easier, so he kind of like agrees with Rick on that point. But where's Negan going? You're gonna find out real soon. So then it jumps to Dwight. Dwight is talking with His friend, I believe her name is Laura. I forgot. Sorry guys. It's just the comic book has so many characters. The TV show mainly focuses on the main cast and on like a handful of supporting characters, while the comic book focuses on so many different people at once. So you have to like be worried. And he's talking to her about Rick, and obviously she's like, you should never have threatened Rick. Like, you should never have stood to Rick like that. And Rick's like, and Dwight's like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, Rick has always helped us and everything. Why do you feel that way? And Dwight explains to her that like he felt the same way about Negan. And then for those who are wondering like, what does he mean by that? Well, there's a Negan origin story comic book called Here's Negan, where you can like read to find out what happened to Negan and why he's like that. And it's a really good story. It really tells you, because Negan was actually a decent person, and I'm not talking about a good guy. Like, he still was Negan. But he wasn't like, how I could say, like, very, what's the word I'm looking for? He wasn't how the show pushes him as a villain. He's more of an ambiguous person. Like, he has villainous tendencies, but he usually has his mind in the right place. But he says that like, Negan was like that same way like Rick in many ways. And like seeing what Rick's doing, he's not agreeing with it. He doesn't like it. Is like he sees Negan as a necessity back when during like where the show is at. He sees Negan as a necessity as a leader, not like as like he knew he had to do what he had to do to keep us safe, keep the Savior safe. But he kind of doesn't agree with Rick in that sort of way. So he kind of see that he's kind of painting Rick as like the new Negan, like as the new like overlord over the wasteland, and like he doesn't like it. He's planning to take him down. And this is similar. I think the whole contrast. I mentioned this in the last issue, but the whole contrast with how Dwight is towards Rick is similar. How Rick was to Douglas and many other men in authority over him, and also I feel like that's also like the illustrator's issue, because they focused on Dwight's new design. Dwight doesn't look like that in the comic book. Early when he looks completely different, but when they redesigned him after the war for the new arc, he looks like a younger Rick, and I think that's what they're going with, a new younger Rick version of Rick. And I'm not saying he's going to replace the current Rick, but I'm like showing that duality and kind of having Rick look like Douglas makes it very interesting. And I would like to see his character like develop more, because it's possible that Rick might step down and might put Dwight as a leader. Who knows how that turns out? Or Dwight might try to take it from Rick and end up killing Rick. Who knows? The next picture also jumps back to the Hilltopians, and they're running to the Kingdom people, and the Kingdom people ran back to go grab some supplies. And what you're seeing now is their new leader, Gwen. I forgot his name. But now you're seeing like their new leader of the kingdom, and he's he's really cooperative dude. He's willing to work with Rick and everyone. At first, everyone was kind of iffy about working with Rick after the whole thing with the Whisperers and situation, but he's still pushing to help them, and he's still helping out. Like, he's helping out the Hilltop right now. He went to go get supplies and lumber so they can help build the houses and stuff. Because communities got to stick together and all that stuff, and this network helps a lot. So now we finally get to go back to Negan, and Negan is now, we found out where he went. He went to go where he buried Lucille. Now, for those who don't know, spoiler, Lucille was his wife. And I believe this is not where Lucille was originally buried. This is obviously where he buried the bat. But Lucille originally was buried already back, I believe, where Negan used to live, which is a very, very far away place now. But, like, I would think that he's planning to do something. Because I also notice I don't see no saviors with him. Is he going to go back to the sanctuary and lead the saviors again? Which I believe so is going to happen. But it's going to be done a little bit differently. I believe he's going to run the saviors more or less similar, but not as gruff and tough, more open and helping people. And this character, I like how Negan is. They can change, like, I like how they're writing Negan. He's changing as a character, but at the same time, he's not losing who he is. Like, he still curses, he still talks about his balls, he's still like a raunchy dude, but that sort of flip in personality, we're seeing more of this vulnerable side of Negan's and his character, which I believe that we never got that from any Walking Dead character. Like, we did hear that about the governor, but that was all done in novels and not in the main storyline. So And also, it's so sad the fact that he talks about it. That even like Dante, who's looking from afar, sees this and is like, "Wow, like this dude really did love his wife. Like it was a heart. He named a bat after her and stuff. Like, dang, dude, that's rough." So then we jump back to the exploration group, and Eugene is like, he went to piss and go talk to Sadiq, and then so he asks Sadiq like, "Yo, you want me to take over?" And Sadiq's like, "Nah, I'm good, bro. You can go ahead." And he goes back to the tent. He goes back to like where his sleeping bag was near, and isn't it was near Magna, and Magna and her girlfriend was like, having sex in the cot. So he kind of just sees, and he's just like, he just walks away, and we were used to seeing Eugene liking to watch people, which is creepy. But obviously he's thinking about Rosita and the issues that he dealt with her, about her cheating, about her having a baby, and he was willing to forgive her and accept that. But now she's dead and gone. He's like emotionally kind of like crippled a little bit, to the point where he don't even find pleasure in other women. Like he's just miserable. And I feel like with this chapter of the constant look at Eugene, we're going to see much more development of his character, because I like what they did with him in All Out War. They're obviously doing something different with him in the TV show, with him siding with Negan and all that stuff, because that was not done in the comic book. It was actually completely different in the comic book, his whole situation with Negan. But then next boom, a Walker attack happens, and Michonne and them almost get attacked. Everyone fights, and everyone points out like, "Yo, Sadiq, what the fuck? Like, dude, we almost got killed." And Sadiq's like, "Yo, my bad, sorry. I'm kind of tired and stuff." And Eugene saves Sadiq and everything. Eventually, we catch the group. They go into, I believe, which is Washington D.C. These building ranges, they look familiar. Like you see some notable buildings, like the building on the right. But I believe, is this D.C. or something different, like another city, or do they pass DC? I believe this is DC, since like they are like Alexandria, everything is outside in Virginia, and they're not far away from Washington DC. Like they passed it on the way there, so I would be surprised if they have to pass through Washington DC to get to like the other side. And also the fact of the matter is that Michonne and everyone also point out the fact that the walkers are like more populated in the city. That's why the cities are always so desolate, because it's kind of stupid to live in a city when an open area is much more easy, because live in a city, you have over hundreds and thousands of, almost millions of zombies roaming around in buildings, in the streets, like a crowd of people, and it's crazy. But anyway, they come into the city and they notice there's no one there. Like, it's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, hold up, like, what's going on? And that's something really interesting, because they have encountered a couple walkers in this issue, and they've been out in the open for like a day. And it's been like, whoa, like what the fuck's happening? Like what is going on? And it's making everyone kind of scratch their heads, like what's really going on? Like what is this issue we're having? Then, as the group, they settle in the city, they settle on top of a building, and they kind of mark that the fact that it's not safe, but who cares? There's not a lot of walkers here, but you may never know what may happen next month with the issue. But then Sadiq is crying and like tearing up, apologizing to Eugene, and Eugene's like, "What are you talking about?" And Sadiq says that he loved Rosita, saying that he was the one that Rosita cheated on Eugene with, and he was the one that got her pregnant. And I'm just like,
say what?
I'm actually surprised, Sadiq. Like, I don't know. Like, that was weird for me. Sadiq, of all people? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird. But, like, obviously, Eugene is going to be furious at him, because him and Sadiq are friends, and you pretty much fucked his wife. So, like, he might kill you. So, start counting down the issues for Sadiq's character, guys. Sadiq's days are numbered. He's been getting a lot of attention now in the comic book, because he was usually a supporting character, but now he's brought more into it. So yeah, Sadiq is there. Sadiq is going to die. Alright guys, this issue was actually nothing really big. It was a really calm and chill issue. It had a couple things that made you worry about, such as the walkers disappearing. But pretty much everything is just like, another build-up arc to something big. I would like to see what Eugene's going to do next month. Possibly just not try to kill Sadiq, but probably like threaten his life in some kind of way, which obviously puts everyone like, Eugene, what are you doing? And he's like, he took Rosita away from me or whatever. But yeah, I give this chapter like an easy. It's nothing big happened. It was like a easy 3 out of 5. It was a basic meh chapter. The ending was it was like woo, but it was really wasn't like all that big. So yeah, keep your eye out, guys, for the next arcs. If you like this video, there's another one on the channel too where I review last month's episode. Now, I will be doing these every month. Every time an issue comes out, expect a review on this channel. If you want to see that, so hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell too, because, well, YouTube doesn't want to put videos in sub boxes now. Bad YouTube.